rolling.
We're rolling.
Yeah.
Greetings, my fellow American patrons. In this installment of Recovery Chats, we are honored to have a special guest, Skylohr. Skylohr and I are out in the barn therapy studio where we just finished our physical therapy session, making 1 inch at a time and another inch today. And I feel like, Skylohr, all of my patrons, even if they've not met you, they know you. You've gained a certain amount of fame. You go by only one name, like Cher or a Brazilian soccer player. Just Skylohr. Skylohr is the hardest working man in show business, and today he has 10 back-to-back-to-back patients to see. But he's fitting in this podcast interview. And just to set the stage a little bit, I'll give a minute of the backstory of how we came to work together. It was November of 2016. I had just returned home from acute rehabilitation, and 1 week after I got home, I was still wheelchair bound, still in a helmet with a blistering headache every single day, all day long, because I was missing part of my bone flap. And right after I got back, I started getting a string of visits by nurses and various therapists that were sent by Kaiser. And it turns out that, Skylohr, you were assigned to me from Kaiser as my home hospital physical therapist.
That's right.
Do you happen to remember the very first session, what we did? Because I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah. I do. I do remember that, seeing you in a wheelchair, all the way over to your left side. Yeah.
So that very first session, I was in the wheelchair and I had no movement on my left side at all. So Skylohr comes in and the first thing he says is, I just want you to kick up your left leg and hit my hand. And that turned out to be the first in a string of things that you asked me to do that were impossible at the time. But now, I can't get it back down, but I can get it up. That didn't come out right.
Yeah.
But enough about that. Skylohr, I've often told my patients that you are the guy who has gotten me out of the wheelchair and back to where I am. And I feel like from that very first session, we've now been working together for 5 years, and you've sort of had a consistent plan to how you've progressed what I've been doing. Is that how you work with a person with a severe neurological injury like mine? Do you have a plan about how to do it? What's the philosophy?
Yeah. So really, when I see you or see someone after a stroke, the evaluation is assessing what function you have, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do, and then putting together a plan to try to get that back. So for you, I think the biggest thing that I saw on day one in that first week is that your midline is not the midline that you're used to anymore. And you went through a series of stages in your recovery, right? From not having any movement to then having really high tone to then having a flaccid left side to then getting more movement in your left side and trying to get an independent movement in your left side or a balanced movement in your left side. And so, yeah, there's certain stages that we're going through to get the most out of our rehab.
And hence all the projects we worked on, like Project Midline. And now we're doing the exposure therapy to get me more comfortable in open space.
Right.
It's all sort of a progression building on what we've worked on, huh?
Exactly. Yep. I think so. Everybody's different, but rehab with you, Ian. I'm learning as we go. I'm learning from everybody. I'm learning how you react to therapy, and so I have to change and modify my therapy based on how you're going to respond to it. And so every session I'm seeing how you're responding to it, and I might dial it back or dial it up to make sure it's a successful session. A successful session means that you're able to execute a movement pattern with good symmetry, with less tone, with more comfort, to have a more functional output. And you will feel that. So yeah, I'm modifying every session in order to make sure that you have a functional movement pattern. Whether it be your gait or arm movements, lying, going from sit to stand, every different functional movement pattern has to be rehabbed to hit your midline, to hit a balanced movement pattern. And then once we get it, then we have to repeat it. We have to practice it over and over and over in the right movement sequence. So that way we can try to get your brain to adapt to how this movement pattern, how we want this movement pattern to look. Yeah.
Well, and I've told you this before, I know we're making progress, but it's not only in our sessions here. I hear you in my shoulder whispering in my ear all day long, every day, telling me the same things you tell me out here. Mainly get to the left, shift your hips, that sort of stuff.
Right.
All that stuff sticks with me.
Go through the list. Yeah. How long have we been working together now?
Oh, this November it's going to be 5 years.
5 years. So Ian knows everything that I have in the book. Really, he knows everything that I've told him, that I'm going to tell him. And he is his own therapist. And that really is my goal with working somebody this long, is to make them their own therapist. So I don't even have to be here. And Ian, you're going to be able to have all the mantras, have all the feelings and body cues, teach you when you do a movement pattern, how it's supposed to feel, how it's supposed to look, so you can reinforce it. Because I'm only coming twice a week and you're working every day.
Absolutely, and that's what's been so valuable about working with you. And Dinesh, if you're watching, I want to give a special thank you to you, because early on when Skylohr was being sent by Kaiser, I told you how well we were working together, and you're the guy who said, in the way that you do, dude, we got to see if that guy has private clients. Let me give him a call. And when you did that, then I was able to get more sessions, and now, like Skylohr says, I've learned so much from working together. I feel like I'm my own PT in a way.
Yeah.
All day long, whether I'm washing dishes, cooking. Right now I'm sitting incorrectly, I know that. I'm biased.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the ultimate goal. And then the question becomes, how do we make progress from here? Ian's been working for 5 years. And how do we keep the ball rolling? How do we keep reinforcing the right movement pattern? And so recently we have got into what Ian terms exposure therapy, and exactly what it is. And that's the next level. Ian's dialed in, walking in the barn with excellent symmetry in one direction. Can we turn around and maintain that in the other direction? Can we walk outside the barn and maintain that symmetry? Can we walk down in the community and maintain that symmetry? And so that's really where the progress lies, is now taking these correct movement patterns and making them more functional in a less comfortable environment.
Well, that's really the trick. What do you think? Can we do it someday?
Yeah, and so I do, and I think a lot of that depends on practicing it, and we're going to come up with techniques to get you comfortable to carry those movement patterns through. And any different situation. And yeah, we can do it. Yeah, it's not going to be easy at all.
No, it's not been easy, but everything I've done so far has not been easy, which gives me hope that since I've managed to make it out of the wheelchair to where I am right now, I'm going to be able to get to the next level as well. And I think having the belief you can do it is half the battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think we're at 10 minutes. I promised everybody these would be 10 minutes or left. Let's wrap it up.
Great.
Thank you, Skylohr. I appreciate it. Your hard work as always. The hardest working man in show business.
My pleasure.
Skylohr.